We can get started with our session. And yep. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out time and attending this session today. My name is Rahul, and I took care of programmability on Cisco IOS XR. In this session today, we are going to talk about model-driven telemetry on XR. We are going to talk about at the introductory level to the intermediate level, and then we'll also see how do we leverage MDT and solve our use cases. After the session, I'll be happy to answer all the questions that you might have. And if still you feel like reaching out to me for any questions or any query or anything like that, you can do so by clicking on this link on the Cisco WebEx app. If you open the app and click on my link, my session, it would show you up this page, and as soon as you click on the WebEx link, it would land you on the WebEx page that I'll be monitoring after the session. So if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to share it in the space and I'll be happy to answer them. So during the session, we are going to cover things like introduction for model-driven telemetry, followed by a demo. Like we'll be starting our telemetry from XR, transferring it into the Splunk environment, and we'll be plotting the graphs for the same. Followed by the demo, we'll also go through some MDT concepts such as event-driven telemetry and multi-threading in MDT. And last but not the least, we'll go through some tools that enable us to leverage MDT on XR and few of the best practices and common issues that we face and how do we resolve those common issues. So before I get started with what is MDT, I need to know why do I need something like model-driven telemetry? What are the issues with my existing infrastructure, say for example SNMP? So with the current infrastructure, there are a couple of issues, and those issues are, first of all, let me, could you confirm if you're able to see the screen? Is it fine? Okay, thank you. So there are a couple of issues. First issue is for SNMP works in a pull-based mechanism, meaning I need to tell my routers to stream the data. My router doesn't stream that data on its own. So it is not a resource-friendly protocol. Second, it uses XML/JSON encoding, which is a text-based encoding, which is again not bandwidth friendly when a good amount of data is being transferred on the XR. And then there are a couple of downsides. There are also a couple of more downsides, such as no TLS support, no data granularity. Even if I need just one piece of information, I need to pull the entire data set. And last but not the least, there is nothing like event-based notification. Say there is an event that happens on my router and I want to be notified of it as soon as possible. There is no mechanism in the existing infrastructure that does it for me. So in order to address these downsides, we introduce something known as model-driven telemetry. And we'll see how it resolves all the downsides of the existing framework. First, it is based on a push-based mechanism, meaning I just need to tell my router once that I need this information, and my router streams that data for me every, say, a given time interval. I need not go to my router and ask for the same information again and again. So this saves me a good amount of overhead when I'm talking about a skilled environment. The second aspect is MDT uses something known as gRPC, which uses a gRPC-based encoding. That encoding basically converts all the text form of data into a binary format. And this binary format is very wire-friendly. I can transfer good amount of data over the wire using gRPC encoding. And since gRPC is based on HTTP version 2 protocol, I have a couple of advantages such as TLS. I am assured that my data which is being streamed from the router is secured because it is using TLS. It has long-lived sessions. Even if there is no activity on my gRPC sessions, my sessions still live. And one more aspect of MDT that makes it really an ideal tool for us is it is based on a Yang model. So in SNMP, we use something known as SID, which is all based on a number, say 4.5.2 and so on. I can't read what I'm trying to fetch from the XR. So see, I am a network engineer and my XR has a database. I need something to talk to my router, but how do I do so? I don't understand database and vice versa. So that is where Yang model comes in between. So when we talk about Yang model, think of a Yang model as a tree structured data. And each of this information on the data corresponds to some information on the router. So we know what is MDT and why do we need MDT. But how do I configure MDT on my XR? So when I talk about MDT configuration, I talk about three components. First, I need to tell my router that I need this particular information to be streamed. And I do so using something known as sensor group. And a sensor group consists of sensor path. As you can see on the screen, I have created a sensor group called sgroup1, this one, and I have used two sensor paths here. My first sensor path is telling my router to bring all the information from this Yang model, which is Cisco IOS XR. This is my XR infrastats dopper. This is name of my Yang model. And within that Yang model, I have the entire hierarchy, which ends up at the generic counters. So basically, I'm telling my routers that you need to stream all the generic counters for all the interfaces which you have on the box. I also have another sensor path which corresponds to the CPU utilization of the XR. So this component is basically what data to send. Then there is second component of MDT configuration, which is called destination group. Now that my router knows what data I have to stream, my router also needs to know where do I stream this particular data. And this is where destination group comes into the picture. It tells where to stream the data as well as how to stream it. So for the where part, we have IP address and the port number. So this is where my listener is configured on, and I have a listener which is ready to listen from XR on this particular IPS and on port number 57100. This can be any port number. From the how part, we have the protocol which will be used. It can be a gRPC or it can be a TCP or it can be a UDP. And also the encoding that has to be used. It can be a JSON encoding, it can be a self-described GPB encoding, and so on. So destination group tells my router where to stream the data and how do I send it. Last but not the least, the third component is called subscription group or subscription. Think of a subscription as a mapping between what to send and where to send it. So in this one, you can see I have created a subscription called sub1, which is name of my subscription. And within that subscription, I have mapped both of my first two components, which were S group 1 and D group 1 from my previous two slides. Here I had defined D group 1 and S group 1. The moment I create this mapping between what to where, and I also provide something known as sample interval. Here I have provided a sample interval of 30,000 milliseconds, which is as good as 30 seconds. So in short, I'm telling my router, send me this data at this address and IP address and port number, and send it to me in every 30 seconds. As soon as I configure this, as soon as I put this configuration on the CLI, my router will start streaming data. So we know how does MDT work, how do I specify what data I need, my destination, and I create mapping. But there are a couple of setups that we can use. For example, I know how will I configure telemetry on XR, but on the other side, we have a couple of options. My first option is a TIG stack. TIG stands for Telegraph, I stands for InfluxDB, and G stands for Grafana. So in this topology, what happens is the XR, which has the configuration that I had shared previously, as soon as subscription is created on XR sends that data to the Telegraph, which collects data from the XR and forwards it to a time series database. That database here is called InfluxDB. And this InfluxDB then shares data with Grafana, and Grafana can then plot graphs and visualizations based on the data. So this was one setup. There is one more setup that we can leverage, which is based on Cisco proprietary tools, such as Cisco Crosswalk tools. In this case, just like Telegraph, I'm using CDG or Crosswalk Data Gateway. CDG gathers all the data from my XR and forwards it to the Crosswalk applications. Applications such as Crosswalk Insights, NSO, and so on can process this data and put configurations on the box if needed. And last but not the least, this is my third topology, which we are going to leverage in detail. We are going to have a demo for the same topology, and we'll deep dive into the components of this topology. In this topology, I have Cisco 8000 XR router running XR version 24.4. In this topology contains Splunk tools such as Splunk Universal Forwarder or SUF. SUF also collects data just like Telegraph and CDG and forwards it to the Splunk Enterprise, wherein we have a database as well as a visualization tool. So far we have seen 3 of these setups, and now we'll look at the third setup in detail. So we are going to go through a demo wherein we will establish telemetry from XR to the Splunk Universal Forwarder to the Splunk Enterprise. We will see dashboards which has been built on the Splunk Enterprise, and we'll see data which is being transferred as well. So let's go through in detail about each of these components here. On the left hand side, right after the XR, you will see Splunk Universal Forwarder, which collects data from the XR. There are a few qualities of this component, such as it is very lightweight. It doesn't require a resource-rich compute for it to be running. Second, it forwards data in real time. There is no time lag as far as the data forwarding is concerned. It is platform agnostic, meaning it works on Linux, it works on Windows, it works with Docker, and so on. And it accepts input in various formats, such as logs, syslogs, TCP, JSON file, text file, and so on. On the other side, we have Splunk SE or Splunk Enterprise. This comprises of a database called Indexa. This database converts our data into a format which is consumable and can be plotted on the graph. This SE has a strong, advanced data manipulation tool, data visualization tool, and Splunk has its own language called SPL, Splunk Processing Language. Using this language, I can plot graphs in a very effective manner. We are going to see those graphs in the upcoming slides. And this is what my topology looks like. I have XR running, and I have both the Splunk instances running on one Ubuntu server. My XR streams data on port number 9996, as you can see on the screen, and Splunk UF then forwards data to the port 9997. And we can also see this on the configuration which is on the right hand side of the screen. We have port configured 9996 as input.conf and port 9997 as output.conf. So basically I'm telling my SUF, expect input on the port 9996 and forward it to the next port. On the other side, I have configuration for Splunk Enterprise. This configuration polishes my data in a way that it can be leveraged to plot graphs on SE. So this was about configuration on the Splunk side. And now we come back to the XR configuration, and this is what my XR configuration looks like. This configuration contains all those three components that we were discussing a while ago. On the top right corner in the blue, we see a destination group. Are you able to see this? So this is my destination group wherein I am telling my router where to stream the data. This is my sensor group, which is what data to stream. And then this is subscription, where to stream the data. Once I put this configuration on the router, my router starts streaming the data. But there is one thing to note here. I have created multiple sensor groups here instead of combining all of them into one sensor group. And I have done that for a particular reason that I'll be disclosing in upcoming slides. The moment I push this configuration, I see a dashboard, a Splunk dashboard coming up, and it is running as well. So now we are going to do a demo wherein I'll show you this dashboard which is running. Oh, I was not behind the VPN and it was not. Are you all able to see a dashboard on the screen? So this is what my dashboard looks like with the configuration that I had put on the XR and the Splunk configuration. In this, we can see the XR platforms, the host name, XR version, CPU utilizations, my memory utilizations, my interface counters, and so on. But one part of it is missing, which is the clock part. And it is this clock part that I'm going to configure right now. And as soon as I create a subscription for this clock sensor path, I'll see data coming over there on the screen. So I'm creating a subscription called Splunk SB. Within that, I'm going to specify my sensor group, which is gonna be Splunk SG. And along with this sensor group, I'm also going to specify the sample time interval within which I need this data. For this one, I'm going to make it as 5,000 milliseconds or 5 seconds. And the second component would be the destination address. As soon as I commit these changes on the XR, I can confirm if my subscription is running or not, and I can do so using the following CLI. As I can see here, the status for my state for my subscription is active. It means my subscription is created and XR is streaming the data for me. And we can confirm so on the dashboard, and I see that all the clock parameters are coming up on the screen. One thing to note about this dashboard is I have created these sensor path, these configuration with a sample interval of 5 minutes. This means that my router will stream the data on the collector side every 5 minutes, whether the data changes or not. And this is not a resource friendly scenario. Say I don't want my router to tell me every 5 seconds that my interface status is up. I only want my router to tell if my interface status goes down. That's it. I don't want to know every 5 minutes. And that is where one of our MDT concepts comes into the picture, and it is known as event-driven telemetry, which means that that data would be streamed only if a particular event occurs. Otherwise, the data won't be streamed. And the best part about EDT is the XR configuration for model-driven telemetry and event-driven telemetry is exactly the same, except one parameter. That parameter is called sample interface. As we can see sample interface on the screen here, it is marked as 0, meaning stream me the data only when anything changes. If I would have made it say 5 seconds, router will stream me the data every 5 seconds whether the data changes or not. And we are going to see an example of event-driven telemetry as well. So as you can see right now, I have this dashboard, I have this panel here, which is not showing me any data as we speak. This one. Because I have not created a subscription for event-driven telemetry. So I'll create one subscription and then I'll make some changes into the configuration and I'll see if I get the data or not. So in this case, what I have done is I have created a loopback interface and I have assigned a particular IP address to it. What I'm going to do is I'll change the IP address and I'll check if I get the data on the screen or not. If it were to work fine, I will get the data as soon as the IP address changes on the XR. So I'm going to create a subscription called EDT_sub, Within that, I'm going to have a sensor path which corresponds to my sensor group, which is based on EDT, and my sample interval would be, in this case, say 5 seconds. And I'm also going to assign a destination ID, which is going to be Splunk TG again, and I commit these changes. As soon as I commit these changes, I can check the status for my application, for my subscription. And I see that the state of my subscription is active, meaning my router is streaming data corresponding to this. And I'll also show you what does my show run. What does my sensor group look like? This is what is my sensor group, wherein it is streaming all the data corresponding to the interface called loopback 10. And I'll see show run interface. It has an IP address of 10.10.10.10, and I can see that on the screen here that it is showing me the IP address. Now I'm going to change this IP address and check if this data gets updated or not. Once I have created the subscription, I'll check the status of the subscription. And I see that it is active. And the dashboard and the panel was updated to the I11 IP address. So this is what my event-driven telemetry looks like. It only streams data when there is change in the data, otherwise it wouldn't. So this was one concept of MDT called event-driven telemetry. Now comes the part wherein I had used multiple sensor groups instead of using one sensor group. And I did so on purpose because I wanted to leverage another concept in MDT called multi-threading. Say I have a sensor group called S group 1, and I have two sensor paths, SP1 and SP2. So what happens is when the data is being collected for streaming, the data for SP1 is collected first. Once the data for this collection happens and is complete, only then the data collection for second sensor path starts. This way, it is not a problem when I'm looking for a small setup or a small amount of data which is being streamed. But when I'm talking about a huge amount of data that my router is streaming, it sometimes takes a good amount of time for data collection. Now say I have told my router to stream the data every 15 seconds, say for example. And both of my sensor paths take 10 seconds each. So what will happen is, for the first 10 seconds, I'll have the data collected for the first sensor path. But by the time data would be collected for the second sensor path, it would have been my sample interval would have gotten over, meaning I wouldn't even get the data because it took more time than the sample interval. And we can see this with the help of an example here. We have two sensor paths within one sensor group. If you check the collection end time and the collection start time on this side, you would see they are pretty much the same, confirming the fact that second collection only happened when the first one ended. And this doesn't serve in a skilled environment. How do I counter it? I counter it with the help of multi-threading. Within multi-threading, what I do is I create multiple sensor groups with one sensor path in each. Because of that, what happens is both my data collection starts at the same time. And you can see this with the help of the screenshot on the screen. The data collection time for both the subscriptions it's pretty much the same. The only difference is because of the fact that the subscriptions were not created at the identical timestamp. I used a Python script to create these subscription, and I was able to create it at such a low gap difference of timestamp. So this is my another concept in MDT. So far we know what is MDT, how do I use it, what are its components, my sensor group, destination group, and my subscription, what is my event-driven telemetry, what are multi-threading, what are a couple of setups. But when I'm getting started with MDT, there are a couple of tools which are supported on XR that make your life easy. Whenever we get started with the telemetry on an XR box, every XR box has Yang models pre-installed. We can't change those Yang models, and because they are very specific to the platform and the XR release. Say I have 10 XR boxes that I want to configure the model-driven telemetry with. So one way is I log in into each of the routers. I look at what does the Yang model for each of the XR looks like, and then I configure telemetry with it. But this is not an ideal approach if I'm working around, say, a couple of routers. If I'm playing with 100 routers, I can't log in into each router and check for the Yang models on that router, because Yang models differ across XR platforms and across XR releases. So I need a tool that allows me to go through these Yang models without actually having a device. And this is where our first tool, which is called Cisco Feature Navigator or CFN, comes into the picture. Using this tool, I can select a particular XR platform and a particular XR release. Are you able to see this? Or I can zoom it up for you. So as you can see here, I have selected my Cisco 8000 router and XR release as 792. The moment I do so, I'll get list of all the Yang models which are supported. And the best part about this tool is it doesn't require a physical hardware, and it is accessible outside Cisco as well. So if you want to access this tool on your device right now, you can do so. You can just go through the guest login and you will see all the Yang models on all the XR platforms across all the XR releases. Once I know my sensor path, my Yang model that I want to stream the data for, I need to confirm if my data that I have figured out, if the Yang model that I have figured out is actually the one I need. And this is where our second tool comes into the picture. Using this tool, I can confirm whether the data that I'll be getting is actually the one I want or not. Say for example, in this case, I want to check what is the time zone configured on my router. So I used my previous tool, Cisco Feature Navigator, to figure out the Yang model. Once I figured out the Yang model, I wanted to confirm if this is the actual Yang model that will give me the data or not. What I did is I used this tool, which is called run space MDT underscore exact dash S for sensor path, and then I copy the sensor path here. The moment I copy my sensor path, I'll get this output. This is the very same output which will be streamed in case of model-driven telemetry as well. So instead of setting up the entire telemetry and then confirming whether my Yang model was correct or not, I can do so by just using this CLI tool. And here I can see the time zone for my router as PST. So I know that this Yang model gives me my desired information, and I can go ahead with this tool. Lastly, there are some common issues and some best practices that we need to keep in mind while leveraging model-driven telemetry. First, telemetry best practice is to use Cisco GNMI GET. Whenever we are dealing with configurations on the box and we need a very small amount of data, we go with GNMI GET. But when we need a good amount of data, we go for a model-driven telemetry subscribe. Our second tool is, our second best practice tip is to use sample time interval cautiously. Because the sample time interval is very subjective to the amount of data which is being streamed out of the box. If it is a huge amount of data, you can't be streaming it every 5 seconds and vice versa. So we need to be cautious of the sample time interval and do not go harsh on the router as far as the sample time interval is concerned. Third tip is using multi-threading that we just discussed in the previous slide, which is creating multiple sensor groups instead of creating one sensor group with all the Yang models. The fourth advice is to use key value combination wherever possible. I'm going to demo this particular tool and how do I use it. So what I'm going to do is, say I need to know how many packets, how many bytes are being transferred from my management interface. But I want to know it just for the management interface and not for some other interfaces. So there are two ways to do it. Either I can pull the entire data for all the interfaces and then filter it. So I'm going to use this tool which is there on the screen, and using this sensor path, as soon as I hit enter, I get a whole lot of data. This is because I didn't use something known as key value filtering. And now I'll use key value filtering to show the amount of data that I'll get, which confirms the difference. Now I have this sensor path over here wherein I have mentioned that I need information just corresponding to the interface name, management interface. The moment I do so, I just get this much amount of data as opposed to this bigger data. So using this tool, I was able to filter my data at the router level itself. And the last tip for this one is to use gRPC and Linux configurations judiciously. Whenever we are running gRPC server in default environment such as default verve and using management interface, we are good to go with regular configuration on the gRPC. But whenever we talk about a non-default verve or a non-global verve, that is where we need to push some additional configurations on the XR. We need to basically tell XR that I'm going to run my gRPC server in a non-default verve, so be ready and expect that. So in this configuration, what I have done is, on the upper side of the configuration, I have told my router that for the gRPC, I'm going to run it within the verve called MGMT or management, which is a non-default verve, and it would be using the port number called 57400. And in the bottom configuration, there is an additional configuration called Linux networking, which is required by the gRPC server in order to interact and stream telemetry out of the box. And the last common issues and solution for that issue is, sometimes there is connectivity issue between my XR router and the collector. And the best way to confirm that if there is a connectivity issue or not, I can do so using the command called telnet. If I want to check if there is a connectivity or not between the XR and the collector, I just need to telnet the gRPC server from the collector side If I'm able to do so, that means my gRPC is up and running and is ready to stream the data for model-driven telemetry. So with this, I conclude my session, and I hope you were able to derive values from it and understand more about model-driven telemetry and how it works on the XR. After this session, you are going to get feedback forms, and I would really appreciate if you could provide feedback on those forms as they allow us to enhance our content that we deliver with every Cisco Live. Lastly, if you need to reach out to me regarding any model-driven telemetry question, anything like that, after the session, you can reach out to me on my Cisco email ID, which is there on the screen right now. Thank you so much for taking out time and attending my session. Thank you so very much. And now I'll be happy to answer all the questions if you have any. Thank you so very much.